The story starts with a boy named Akagami. His father was a womanizer who always told him to be with as many girls as possible. The more, the better. But Akagami decided to live his life alone and not get involved with any girls. Now, Akagami is a young man. After school, when he was heading home, his friends invited him to a party. As always, he refused because he didn't want to be around any girls. Later that night, while working at a supermarket, his boss asked him why he wasn't dating anyone, mentioning that his father had been dating a girl named Sue at his age. But Akagami replied that he didn't want to be like his father. On his way home, he saw a car and was reminded of his dad. He thought about how his father had ruined his life and how he had grown to resent the idea of enjoying relationships with women. Everyone saw Akagami as the son of a filthy family that ruined women's lives and reputations. He hated girls and crowded parties and just dreamed of passing his job exam to secure a stable income. But suddenly, a heavy box hit him and he fell to the ground. A girl named Aoba quickly ran up to him and asked if he was okay. Akagami froze, staring at her stunning beauty. Aoba asked again if he needed help. Akagami stood up and walked away, scared of his own feelings. When he got home, he tried to sleep, but Aoba's face kept occupying his mind. She was just so beautiful. The next day, Akagami was watching the girls when his friends invited him to a co-ed party. He decided to join and had a great time. But afterward, he couldn't stop thinking about what he had done and the girl he had fallen for. His emotions and desires made it hard for him to concentrate in class, and his chances of failing were increasing. Suddenly, he had an idea. The next day, he took a leave from school and announced that he wanted to become a monk. He went to a temple and knocked on the door, and Aoba was the one who opened it. Akagami froze and tried to shut the door, but Aoba opened it wider. For a moment, he stepped back. He wanted to return with proper attire, but even then, his clothes weren't very appropriate. Akagami tried to run away but tripped and fell. Aoba came closer, and though he tried to resist, he blurted out a proposal to her. Aoba was shocked. After sitting down for tea, she started asking him about his favorite things. Akagami was nervous and worried, thinking these were part of some kind of entrance exam, and he might fail. While stepping out to use the restroom, he noticed a cat stuck in a well. He tried to rescue it but fell in himself. Aoba was shocked, and suddenly Sakuya appeared, telling Aoba that there was a spirit nearby. When she saw Akagami, she mistook him for the spirit, got so scared she collapsed, and when Akagami tried to get closer, he accidentally touched her chest. Aoba kicked him, and they both started running. Sakuya chased after them, and a little girl named Kuroji was about to fall when Akagami caught her and gently set her down. Meanwhile, Kagura and Miya were busy drawing, but Miya heard the commotion and stepped outside. Striking a provocative pose, she confronted Akagami. Aoba and Sakuya were talking about spirits when Akagami joined them. Aoba punched him hard and Kiki showed up, laughing along with everyone else at all the misunderstandings. Kiki and Aoba started arguing. Akagami realized that the place wasn't a temple but rather a monastery, a place where nuns live under the supervision of a male or female head. Aoba apologized for kicking him, but Miya and Sakuya were still angry at him. Kiki told Aoba she could let Akagami stay and teach him the rules of becoming a monk. Despite all the chaos, Akagami insisted he didn't want to cause trouble for anyone. But they teased him, accusing him of liking women's bodies. Kiki decided to test him again, which only made Akagami flustered once more. Akagami, however, declined the offer to stay, hoping Aoba would remember their first meeting. He walked away, now sitting alone on a bench, wondering what he should do. Suddenly, Aoba appeared, saying she couldn't find a bus to take her home and asked if she could stay the night at the monastery. Akagami declined her offer, asking her to forget what he had said earlier. Aoba replied that they'd only met twice and that his proposal sounded crazy. Both of them were embarrassed. Akagami then told her his name, and when Aoba heard his full name, she was shocked. Miya and Sakuya were furious with Akagami because his father had borrowed 20 million yen from the monastery. Kagura suggested repaying the debt through either slave trading or organ trafficking. But Aoba suggested paying off the debt with her own body. Everyone was shocked, but what she actually meant was working as a servant to help repay the loan. The others weren't too happy with the idea, but Aoba politely resolved the situation. She then started showing the monastery to Akagami, who promised to do whatever was necessary to repay the money. Sakuya, however, was still furious with Akagami and determined to get rid of him no matter what. Kiki came up with a clever trick, a tempting trap. However, she insisted that Sakuya would have to carry it out alone. The next morning, Akagami woke up early and got to work. While he was cooking, he saw Aoba and felt slightly tempted. At breakfast, Sakuya was annoyed just by seeing Akagami and was ready to insult him for his cooking. But when she tasted the food, she was shocked by how delicious it was. Akagami was pleased with her reaction. However, Sakuya, trying to change the subject, ordered him to clean the house, even though Akagami had already done it. Sakuya also asked Akagami about some computer issues, which he quickly solved, leaving her surprised and impressed. Determined to humiliate him, she forced him to stand under a freezing cold shower. However, Akagami remained calm, believing it to be some kind of meditation practice. Just then, Aoba came home, and seeing her made Akagami feel a strange warmth. Once again, Sakuya's plan failed. Later, Akagami was relaxing in the bath when Sakuya suddenly called for him. Akagami, still undressed, tried to hide himself. Sakuya assumed that if he saw her, he would jump at her and try something inappropriate. She imagined Aoba catching them in the act and throwing him out. But nothing of the sort happened. Frustrated, Sakuya decided to take matters further by removing her clothes to provoke him. Suddenly, an accident occurred. As Akagami tried to help her, a box fell on him, and in the confusion, he accidentally kissed her. At that moment, Aoba walked in. Sakuya immediately blamed Akagami for everything. Aoba told him to leave, and he quietly obeyed. Everyone celebrated Sakuya's supposed victory, asking her how she managed it, but she couldn't give a clear answer. Despite their excitement, it was clear she wasn't happy at all. Aoba also refused to talk to him. When Akagami tried to speak with her, Aoba told him that whenever she saw his face, she couldn't help but remember his naked body. Sakuya mocked her for this, but Aoba revealed that she knew the whole thing was a trap Sakuya had set for Akagami. She found out because Kiki had told her about it. They all sat down to talk. Aoba explained that it's wrong to treat men and women differently. She said Akagami truly wanted to change himself and deserved their support. Realizing her mistake, Sakuya admitted she was wrong. Aoba suggested they come clean to Akagami about everything. However, Kiki interrupted, telling them Akagami had already packed his things and left the temple. Akagami returned to his old workplace's accommodation only to discover that his apartment had already been rented out. As the rain poured down, he sat in a park, thinking about Aoba's beauty and how Sakuya had taught him to control his desires. Then, he suddenly remembered the borrowed money and how it needed to be repaid. Worried and lost in thought, Aoba unexpectedly appeared and asked why he had left the temple. Akagami explained that he thought he had been kicked out, but Aoba clarified that he wasn't ready to live independently yet. She offered to take care of him and insisted he return to the temple with her. Sakuya was there too and apologized for deceiving him. Akagami also apologized for his inappropriate behavior, and the group finally reconciled. Sakuya handed Akagami a piece of paper with "Kiss Payment" written on it. When they returned home, Miya was upset to see Akagami back. He and Sakuya headed to the kitchen, where Kuriji was sitting and started talking nonsense. Akagami told her to stop speaking that way. Sakuya went to take a bath while Akagami and Kuriji began preparing dinner. Kuriji started teasing Akagami, making comments about Aoba's body and suggesting he sneak a peek at her in the bath. She even tried to open the bathroom door, but when Akagami tried to stop her, he accidentally opened it himself. Aoba and Sakuya yelled at him and stormed off. Miya, furious, warned Akagami that if he didn't leave on his own, she'd castrate him. Afterward, Aoba and Sakuya left, and Miya returned with a girl named Kagura, whom she introduced as her older sister. Miya was already annoyed and reminded Kagura about her first meeting with Akagami. Then, an argument broke out between Miya and Akagami. During the heated exchange, Miya's chest accidentally became exposed, leaving her embarrassed. Akagami, in an attempt to help her, instinctively caught her to prevent her from falling, unintentionally touching her chest. Kagura suggested that Miya should accept whatever penalty Akagami deemed fit. She also proposed looking into how others punish people, suggesting something like torture. However, Akagami told Miya to spend one evening under his supervision, insisting there was no need for torture. But Miya misunderstood his request, thinking he was referring to her chest, which only made things more awkward. While Akagami was asleep, Miya suddenly came in and told him it was just for one night. She started showing off her chest, leaving Akagami completely baffled and dazed. He thought it was all just a dream. But when Kagura appeared, Akagami jumped up and shouted, realizing there had been a misunderstanding. Embarrassed by his reaction, Miya quickly ran out of the room. When she entered another room, she found Akagami already waiting for her there. Kagura locked the door behind them, leaving Akagami puzzled about how they'd escape. It was cold, so Akagami insisted on giving Miya a blanket. Miya warned him not to come closer, saying it might tempt her. When Akagami asked why, Mia explained she came from a family where the women fell for a lot of men. She shared that she once told her friends she wanted 100 boyfriends, but they had a party without her, leaving her feeling isolated. Then one day, Kagura entered her life, and they became friends. Kagura eventually told her about the monastery, and Mia decided to turn her life around. Hearing her story, Akagami began crying. When Mia asked why, he said her story was very similar to his own. They decided to work together on controlling their desires and emotional impulses. Suddenly, Kagura entered and Mia screamed, accusing her of locking them in the room. Left with no choice, they decided to spend the entire night playing games. The next morning, Aoba, busy with cleaning, overheard Mia and Akagami playing games and laughing together in the room. When she gets closer, she sees them playing in a cozy and intimate setting and is completely shocked. Alright guys, thanks for sticking with us until the end of the video. Don't forget to like the video and drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you'd like me to create more videos like this and introduce more anime, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit the bell icon so you won't miss any anime summaries. See you in the next video. Bye-bye!